Well, I've just been in there tearing up another meal. I've been on vacation this week, and if I don't go anywhere, like as in travel somewhere on my vacation week, generally I spend the whole week sleeping, eating, working on cars, and that's about it. And so this week I've been steadily eating my way through my vacation. What I mean by that is I go out to eat a lot, and normally I don't. I might go out on a weekend once, but the rest of the time, if I eat out at lunch, it's usually paid for by the company, and same thing for dinner if I have to stay out. So it kind of makes up for it. Kind of gives me the ability to, just eat wherever I want to. So I've made my second trip to Outback tonight, and let's see, I had Mexican food last night, and then the night before that I made 2 trips this week to Red Robin, 2 trips to Longhorn, and I was surprised I didn't have pizza this week. Usually I have pizza at least once, but I've been kind of out on pizza lately. I just hadn't had the craving for it at all. So now I'll have to spend time trying to get exercise and burn off some of this because my pants are getting a little too tight in the waist. But that's just how it is. And I eat out, like I said, for work. If I'm working out somewhere and I have to stay out, I eat out pretty often for that. So I'm in a lot of different restaurants, and I'll tell you something, the service is kind of unpredictable. Sometimes I go in the place and I'll get waited on right away. Sometimes if it's just me, I get pushed down the line for waiting for a table unless I catch on to it, and I have to get on to them and make them seat me. And I've sat down, like I said, waited for a menu. Sometimes I bring a menu right away. Sometimes when I order unsweet tea, they bring me sweet tea. They let me, one thing that happens the most is they let me run out of tea usually, so that normally, and I don't drink tea that fast. I may have a couple 3 glasses while I'm having my meal. I don't swig it down like crazy, but they still let me run out of it. And I've even sat down places before and not even get the menu opened up, and they ask me if I know what I want to eat, and I've told them, I said, I don't have the menu memorized yet. I'm working on it, but not yet. I will have to open it up and look at it. So, we're sorry. I'm sorry about that. Don't mean to rush you. And they always, when they always bring your check to you, they'll say, we're just bringing this for your convenience, no rush, which means, yeah, we want you to go ahead and finish and pay and get out of here. So anyway, I saw something when I was coming down the street right here. I'm going to drive over here and check it out. There's something over here, a restaurant that's supposed to be open now and is not open. I mean, it's like it's their usual operating hours, and they're not open. So I'm just curious about that. Look at that. That's a nice car. It's one of those, I think that's a 350Z, 370Z. That's kind of a harsh sounding radar detector, but the one I had before was it's one of those, had a voice. It would tell you, and there's a female voice, which was fine, but the longer she sat out in the sun on the dashboard, the more faint her voice became. So eventually I couldn't hear her when I was going down the road, so I gave it away. I think I gave it to Uncle Phil. This is the joint here. This is a Ruby Tuesdays. And you can see it's dark as can be. So, well, it must be gone because the name's off the front of it. That kind of sucks too, because I eat here periodically, and there's 2 of these in town here, And the other one, which is on South Parkway, is in my opinion is not as good as this one. The service wasn't as good, and the food wasn't quite as good. They're kind of surly down there. So okay, I don't know. I guess there just wasn't. I guess there wasn't enough room for two of them here. Enough business, I mean. I'll tell you, I've eaten Huntsville. Okay, you're gonna have to be quiet. Huntsville has run off all the down-home mom and pop type restaurants. There used to be plenty of them around here, and there were steakhouses and stuff like that. There were not chains, and they've all disappeared. If you want to eat here in Huntsville, you got to eat at a chain restaurant, unfortunately. So I've eaten at all of them, and I've eaten them so much that I'm almost sick of them, and so you about have to travel out of town if you want to get something. And you know, that's just, people have, I guess they've started to feel like that a chain restaurant's good. If it's predictable and the same and nothing ever changes, that's a good thing. So okay, I don't share that conviction, but we do have some places like there's a Drake's over there. That's a sports bar that are not. I don't know if that's a chain or not. It probably is. If it's here, it's probably a chain. But we've had some restaurants go out. We lost at Ryan's, which was, to me, was no loss. And I think that cheeseburger down there is shut down. And now that Ruby Tuesdays. We got a Chili's, which I don't go to very often. When they go out at work when they go to Chili's at, what am I trying to say here? When we're at work and they want to go to Chili's, that's fine with me. I like what they have, but not enough to eat on my own. And they go to Applebee's periodically, and I'm not crazy about Applebee's. Of course, I don't eat chicken, so that kind of rules out a lot of what's on the menu for me. And let's see, I went into that Bonefish Grill we got back there, and I don't normally do stuff like that, but I didn't even give them a chance to come take my order. I looked at the menu and I figured out right away there wasn't anything I wanted to eat there, so left. And let's see, I've been to that Tony Maroney. What is that? Tony Macaroni? Tony Romano? That's two different places, isn't it? Macaroni Grill. We've got both those Italian places here in town, and they're pretty good, but that's kind of a special occasion type place. It's not some place I'd go eat all the time at all. It's usually too crowded and too expensive. And we got a place over here called Rosie's, and I don't know if those are anywhere else, but it's a Mexican place. It's called a Mexican Cantina. You know, before I moved up here, I hadn't been in that place maybe once in the past 8 or 9 years, and I've really grown to like it. We've got a bunch of well, some of them are chain. Like we've got a place called a Mexican restaurant chain here called Buena Vista, and that's a chain. And then we've got some called well, I can't remember the name of it right now. It slipped my memory, but anyways, we've got a couple local chains, and then we've got several independently owned ones, I guess you'd say. But the problem with those is they're not authentic. They don't serve here in this part of the country. They don't serve authentic Mexican food. They serve what we call Americanized Mexican food, which means the salsa is very mild, and the dishes, not the dishes, the plates of the dishes, the meals are for the most part authentic items, but they're not prepared authentically. And especially one of the things is a chili relleno, and chili relleno is supposed to be made a certain way. You folks that live out west, you know exactly what I'm talking about. And what you get here is, well, most of the time it'll have a chili in it, but it's supposed to be breaded, and 9 times out of 10 it's not breaded. Sometimes it's a whole chili, which is supposed to be, and then sometimes you'll get something that's like a piece of a flat chili. And so my brother has a lot of problems with that. He doesn't like to eat chili rellenos around here because they're not authentic. When we go out west on a trip, if we ever eat somewhere Mexican food, it's evident right away how much hotter the food is out there, meaning spicy. And I'm not a big fan of real spicy food. When it gets too hot, I can't eat it, but I don't like it when it's so hot that I can't enjoy it. But getting back to Rose's, their food's pretty good. I think it's a little bit more authentic maybe than some of it, but I kind of quit experimenting with Mexican food around here anyway. I normally just eat tacos. And that was the other thing I was going to mention too. Kind of forgot that, but talking about the Mexican food, the restaurants, just about every one of them. Come on, Precious, let's go. Just about every one of them have the same menu. The lunch specials are all the same, and the selections with just a little bit of difference are mostly the same. They got a thing around here called a Speedy Gonzales for lunch. Well, yeah, it's mainly lunch, but it's a enchilada, some kind of enchilada, rice, and a taco normally. Some places sell it pretty cheap, like about $4 for lunch. And then you got a taco salad, and you got some sort of nachos and stuff like that. So, but it's all basically the same. You go to one Mexican restaurant and it tastes about the same as the other, and none of it's very spicy, none of it's very, very seasoned, because they don't, they know us white breads can't hack that stuff like they can. That's why you ever notice that around places like that you don't see many actual Hispanic folks eating there, because to them it's like taking their kind of food and watering it down and then eating it. And you guys who are Hispanic, you can probably share your thoughts on that, but my parents met in Las Cruces, which is in New Mexico, and they were well acclimated to good, authentic Mexican food. I've just never have thought that this state or this area is very much of a paragon of food culture. I like to eat. I love to eat. I think that's, and I'm not one of these guys, I'm single and I don't date very often. When I date, of course, we go out to eat and things, and that's fine. It's enjoyable. But I'm not one of these guys that gets traumatized by the idea of going out by himself to eat. I don't mind a bit. It doesn't bother me to sit in a restaurant and eat. Because, don't take this the wrong way. I don't mean it selfishly, but when I go out to eat, it's all about me, I want to go in there and eat and enjoy myself. I don't give a shit what other people might think about me eating there by myself. That's not even on the list of things I care about. I want to go in there and have my meal and sit there as long as I want to and enjoy it. I go out to eat lunch by myself. I read the paper. No, I don't have a problem with it. But some guys are just. I had a friend like that. He just tore him up. He said he wouldn't go out. Oh, I don't have anybody to go with. Oh, you know, nobody's. I constantly disagreed with that. But you know, I think that's kind of your upbringing in a way, because I think people that grew up, a lot of people there, around a lot of people, siblings and family, and parents and things like that, I think they tend to kind of retain that even into adulthood. They like to be around people and used to being around people and not used to not being around people. And like me and my brother, it was just me and him, and our parents were there but not there, if you know what I mean. So he and I both have kind of, as we grew into adulthood, we both were able to, you know, do things on our own and it not bother us. And no real desire. I would say he'd probably agree with it. No real desire to be in a big group or need somebody else. So, you know, not saying it's wrong or nothing wrong with it. I do enjoy it, but it's not something I don't sit at home, you know, upset or depressed or something like that because there's nobody there. It doesn't bother me a bit. Some people can't hack it, and I would never make fun of somebody like that. I understand that, but you know, that's just how people are, how they're wired, what they're used to. Look at that, man! I've talked all the way back from the restaurant. Jacking them jaws. That's an old CB term. You guys as old as me and older remember that one. I think there was a song called that one time. You know, I wish somebody could explain to me, why is it when you get older, like not old, but just older, that you start making all these noises, like sighing and groaning and grunting when you get up or down, or that kind of stuff. You know, you still hear the older folks do that, and I thought, I'd never do that. And shh. Well, that didn't last long. So, well, here we are, guys, back at Muddy Flats. I hope you enjoyed the conversation and the ride and everything, and we will talk at you in another video. See ya.